Welcome everyone to the Mastermind Book Club. In tonight's session, we're looking at a book that is recommended by one of our members, Reggie. Reggie has been recommending powerful books that, have come from left field, and he's made a home run on them because they've hit the heart, they've hit the brain, and they've made us become sharper in reference to fine tuning where we need to be. Reggie, can you tell us what this book is about, as well as anything you learned from this book?
Tonight's book is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is the short title, or the long title rather. There's also a subtitle by a doctor, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's a renowned chiropractor and practicing doctor in that respect, and just a really smart guy, right? And this guy has written a number of books. He's campaigned or lectured across the world, and the guy just has some really profound stuff. And he really talks about in this book basically this idea of getting to a place of consciousness through basically undoing a lot of the habits that you currently have, which is basically tying you to be a person that operates almost like a robot. 95% of what you do is essentially that which you've learned across the over a period of time, whereby you're just functioning as sort of routine, and things that you're doing you're not even thinking about, and it's just sort of it's as if like you're playing on a record and you're just responding to that record. So his point here is that if you will get to a state where you break those habits, which are those learned practices and those learned scripts that are going on in your head, that you can get to a state of consciousness, which most of us are probably at most function at that 5% conscious state, where you're actually aware of what you're doing, and you can actually affect and move your life in the direction that you wish by way of being in tune with where you are in the present. So he's saying if you can get to that place where you're functioning in the present, you can actually affect your life so much so that you can do things whereby you can go directly from a thinking state directly to almost like a being state, as opposed to thinking, doing, being. And this is where you're fully aware of where you are. And if you're in that place, and a lot of it is done, which hasn't been focused on yet in the first half of the book, a lot of it is through meditation, where you can basically get to that place by doing some meditative practice, and ultimately essentially correcting or breaking all of what you've been going through in terms of how you've been functioning from whenever you started learning until the current, to break all of that and then remake yourself into a new person, essentially. And we can all do that. And if we would just put forth the practices in terms of, like I said, the meditation, and come into a place of awareness of who we are and why we do what we do, and then just discarding that which we've been functioning under, and then take on a new persona, a new personality, or a new person altogether. And from there, we can go on and become the persons we wish to be, and doing the things that we want to do, and living the lives that we wish to live in total. So that's my little short version of my summary and what the book is about. And anyone can jump in and go on and say a little bit more.
Yeah.
Awesome. Martha, do you want to add to the powerful words that Reggie just said?
Yes. He was talking about in this book, you have conscious mind is 5% of the role, the life, the way we live our life, and subconscious mind is 95% of the role, and the life we live. And he's talking about a lot of memories, and we have memories accumulate for the past, and sometimes we have to clear out the memory to have a new life. He talking about loses your mind and create another one. If you want to, depends on your goals, depends on what you want to change in your life. And for me, for the beginning, it was very hard. I was thinking it's impossible, but he have a lot of examples that people he treated and they became very healthy and fight with the anxieties, depression, people with Parkinson's diseases. And he saw people healed and in very good weight to coming back to normal without medication, without doctor treatment, then working with the mind, because he was talking about he's talking about the heart, the heart beating, they have energy, and the heart leave oxytocin, and the oxytocin is going to the brain, and then is a lot of transmit a lot of hormones involved into the process. So the key in here is the heating, the energy from the heart going to the brain, and the brain leave the hormones. And this, and then he say working with the meditation and the neurotransmitters that we have in the brain involve a lot of things to clear our mind. It's a process, it's a hard process, but the people made a commitment to do this, they can get the goals they want. So is a lot of commitment, is organic, is hormones involved, the brain, the heart. We have to make a commitment to do the best we can, and we want to get health. A lot of people have a lot of health problems. He says 70% of the people live in depression, live in anxiety for work, for the lifestyle we have. It's always the way we can live and have a better life in the future. And this is what we do right now in this Master Book Club, to try to do a better life and better future for us and for the family. And we can teach another people. And we get to the point we can we can get the top of the line. We can heal ourselves and get our goals. We can be able to teach another people in the future. That's my goal, because I like to help people, and this is my goal, to learn, need knowledge, vision, and commitment to be able to get to the point and
Got
this
it.
time. And that's it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And health is very important. Health is very important. People wait till the end. You know, when they're sick, when they're in bed, when they're in the emergency room, and say, oh, I got to take care of my health. Really. And, you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza hits some very important nerves in reference to taking care of your health sooner. Am I wrong, Martha? Or
No, you're right. I
okay,
was following Joy Dispenza for a while.
okay,
Yeah,
very good.
it takes a lot of recordings in YouTube and a lot of meditations, a lot of things.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, thank you, Martha, for sharing that. That's very important as well. Very powerful message. Thank you. Ty, Gina, or Charles, any words?
I just jump in
Charles,
because
go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yep, loud and
Yeah,
clear.
I'm just jumping in a little bit and talk about the neuroscience and what is that? The neuroscience, the epigenetics and the quantum physics that the book actually goes into. The neuroscience is dealing with the structure and the chemistry makeup of the brain and the nervous system that you can, so that's really what he's focusing on is how to restructure, I guess, your brain sequences to be able to um, like change patterns. And that gets into the epigenetics, the study of how our behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way our genes work. These changes are irreversible but they don't change our DNA sequence, but they can change how our body reads the DNA sequence. So that's where the healing comes from, or some of the different transformations. Gets to talk about endorphins and so forth, that stimulation from I guess doing drinking, alcohol, sex, running, exercise. These things can be changed So the biology of epigenetics is the study of heritable phenotypes that cause, not involve the alterations in the DNA sequence. Epigenetic patterns, like I was just saying, deal with diet, obesity, physical activity, smoking, alcohol consumption, environmental pollutants, psychological stress, or even working at night are some of the most notable patterns. The quantum physics allows the particles to be in two places at the same time. A person, I took it as a person can be both hot and cold at the same time, but they were actually talking about quantum physics governs the way the universe behaves on the scales of atoms, electrons, and protons. And with all that being said, is he took a very interesting path within the book to restructure our thinking, how, just through meditation, getting up in the morning and rethinking your thoughts, how you can just change, I guess, these patterns. He was saying that 60 to 70% of our thoughts are repetitive. And like I'm just hitting on a couple of things that Reggie had already talked about, and that these thought patterns can be changed if we focus in on them, once again, through meditation. I wrote something else down I thought was pretty cool. It says the book teaches us to master positive moments and managing our intentions and managing our emotions. In this book, the training, you can train yourself to operate. In this book, training, being on a lower frequency, you can change. But when they get the revelation, like booms or liberation, that you can, once you change, the freedom that comes with you changing. And then he talked a little bit about technological versus social engagement. Once again, the stimulation from the dopamine, your physical chemical makeup. It's important to retreat from one's own stuff, from one's own self. Like I said earlier, your eating, your drinking habits, if you do drugs or alcohol, even watching video games, it's important to take a break from these things and maybe see yourself taking a walk in nature, or like I like to go traveling, see someplace different, just to break up, I guess, that monotony of what you do all the time. You kind of unplug yourself from life's routine so you can establish new and better routines. And that's all I want to say. Since the world is constantly changing, it's never been so easy to connect and share with others. Information is so vast. With the knowledge, we can condense timeframes, learn, act, and achieve in a third of the time. So just like someone mentioned earlier, the stock market, crypto, like even today, I watched my mechanic fix my car by, pulling out a cell phone and YouTubing the problem. And he was able to fix it right there in front of me. So which made me wonder, why am I paying him $40 an hour to fix my car? When all he did was whip out his phone and YouTubed it. But these are some of the things that the book was talking about from what I got through it. I'm looking forward to some of the exercises in the book and in the next half of the book.
Thank you, Charles. The book is very powerful, and I'm certain that whatever the second half of the book has is got to be just as powerful as well, if not even more powerful. So really appreciate what you said, and reaffirming and also supporting what Reggie and Martha said as well. So thank you for sharing that. Ty or Gina, would you like to comment anything in reference to the book?
Well, if I
Ty,
could say
yes.
something really quickly.
Yep, go ahead.
What I got from the book, it made me think about redirection, like redirecting myself, redirecting, the redirection that I've done, like growing up, and like changing my crowd and the people that I hung around and stuff like that. And he made me think about like life changes, and staying like staying consistent with the changes that I make in my life, to keep from who I used to be and to step into my new self. And, just kind of, how he said it, I'm just trying to say it in my own words. Like he was just saying to me, like almost like Madonna did, recreate yourself and reinvent yourself, but just, have little triggers to help you stay within your new self so that you don't fall back into the old way of thinking and you don't fall back into the old behaviors, because that would take away from everything that you are trying to do to move forward. So with that, I listened to the whole thing. I started like the day that we got the book, and I started listening from then, and I actually finished a few hours before we got on today. And it's almost like he's redirecting, like
Don't tell us
he's
about the
kinda
other part of
saying-
the book yet. Don't
No,
tell us about
it's
the other
almost like
part.
he's saying the same thing. He's saying the same thing.
No, don't
It's
tell
like-
us. Don't tell us.
Oh, okay, sorry. But what it did
You're
for
getting
me is
excited.
it totally helped me to feel like I'm on the right path,
Yes,
as far as
very good.
picking the right people to be around and staying by myself to kind of, to get my thoughts together before I kind of, be around a lot of people, and how that
Good.
your friends can, and the people you around can and will, like how you say, you can pick up their ways if you're not careful, either good or bad.
And they'll
Okay,
attempt
so
to
I'm not gonna
limit
say that
your,
now, 'cause I don't do it.
they'll
All right.
attempt to limit your progress as well. They'll limit.
Absolutely. If you're
Always-
around the wrong crowd.
Always look
Yeah.
at the ways that they can bring you down. Yeah. Thank you, Ty.
Absolutely. You're
Gina.
welcome. Thank you.
I think, Ty, you're trying to say something like, I'm hearing you say like changing your environment would also help you to change your mind, right? And I think that it's
something
all
like
about,
Yeah.
and it seems like he's talking about changing our minds, right? And who would have thought about this? The unthinkable, right? When we say this person has lost their mind, or that person has lost their mind, it might not be a bad thing at all, right? Because that's the idea of this book, trying to get us to lose our old way of thinking. And, because our minds usually get in our way. So I had written something on here. Oh my goodness, what happened to it? It just like disappeared here. Okay, I said, the beginning of the book, it talks about if you knew that what you thought create your reality, wouldn't you be more cautious about what you think? If you knew that your mind, things that go on in your head, the things that go in our heads create this world that we're seeing around us. Sometimes we're unsatisfied with it, with life. And if we knew that all of that is coming from here, what we're observing, what we're thinking, how much more cautious would we be about what we allow to go into this head of ours, And I'm thinking of an example last week, you guys know that I'm a teacher, right? And so right now I'm not really in the classroom. I'm assisting, I'm in the classroom, but assisting students one-on-one rather than teaching computers like I was doing last semester. But anyway, so they call us in to the office on Friday, and they said to us, you guys can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they said, oh, come over. We have a supply check for you guys. And so I went over with some of my coworkers. And interestingly enough, we had to wait for a little while, and then they gave us this check. Now, they didn't give this to me last year. So some of them who received it last year, they were like, someone said, open up your envelope to see what the amount is. So it was half of what they got last year. And so the person that I was writing with, he was saying, oh, I cannot believe that they did that they cut it down by half like that, Granted, both of us, we don't really need any supplies because, we're not like working directly in the classroom, so to speak. But I thought about it, and I'm like, I could say something like, yeah, that's true. Man, they're so cheap and they're so tight. Instead, I was thinking, what Dr. Dispenser, or even, some of the great teachers are trying to tell us, come from a position of gratitude. It's like, wow, somebody actually give me some money, and I don't really, I don't even use it. I don't even need it for supply. You know, that how awesome is that? So I was like, yeah, I could decide to look at it a different way from what other people are seeing. And I heard most of them complaining, like, I cannot believe this, you know, this is just maddening. I'm really upset and so forth and so on. And then I decided, I thought about this guy. I don't know if you guys heard of him as well. His name is Ken Honda. And he was saying, whenever money comes to you or something like that, say thank you. Arigato in
Oh,
Japanese.
okay.
And
Yes.
so I decided to just like, you know, and I felt just like, you know, think about it differently. And I felt happier about it. Like I'm receiving something that, you know, I probably, I mean, I wasn't even expecting to receive. So I was happy about that. So anyhow, so I guess, was somebody getting ready to say something?
I don't,
Sorry, I thought someone was saying something.
No, but I was
So-
gonna say, since you said something, I was gonna say, like the book said, by changing the way you looked at it, you changed the endorphins and the receptors about how you feel. You didn't feel like mad, you felt happy. And since you're feeling happy,
Yeah.
it puts you in a better state, all because of the way you looked at it. And that's some of the exercises that they do in the book.
Yes. So I thought about that. And then he was like, you know, did you get a paycheck? You know, say thank you, be grateful for it. You know, it's like, yeah. So I feel happy after I started to think about it like that. It's like, thank you, you know, in that, like that last book that we were reading, the Millionaire Mindset, talked about, you know, just like, think about it. I have a millionaire mindset. What was that? Is like tap your forehead.
yes.
So I want to, I'm so grateful to be able to read this book. You know, I have seen it before and I have followed Dr. Dispenza in a lot of the podcasts and so forth and so on that he is on. And it's just like, I am just amazed at what's going on today, that the things that we are learning, you know, about the quantum field and so forth and so on, things that we did not know before, how we can actually just like look at something in our mind's eye, you know, and it's something that also comes from Christianity, right? That Christ has said that before, you know, according to your faith be it done unto you. And if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say move mountain, you know,
Yes.
and you can just like, so the whole idea in you know, Dispenza didn't come up with this. He's just clarifying it more for us, right? That we have to see it in our mind's eye first, right? And then it's realized once we do that. That is just so powerful, you know,
Yes.
and I get all excited about all these books that we read, and it's like, I just can't wait to like put them in practice each time to see how, you know, and I know I said this before, I just feel my life is just being more and more enriched each and every day. And I'm just excited about the future. I really
Beautiful.
am.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful,
So
beautiful.
that's my
I'm
part.
excited as well. And just, I feel your energy.
Oh,
And that
cool.
that is powerful. I appreciate for sharing that. And the reality is that all we need is a 2 millimeter shift, just like Tony Robbins says, a 2 millimeter shift. It could be one word that is stopping us from accomplishing one major thing, just one word. It could be one action that we need to implement. But the reality is that it depends on you. And the only way that you can discover this is through taking the time to either, as Joe Dispenza said, prayer, meditation, visualization, taking the time to write things down, and which most of us don't really do. We don't really do for whatever reason. We do have the time. It's weird. When you do it, it's like, oh my God, I do have the time. But when you don't do it, it's like, why would I need to do this? And that's just the reality. Let me just mute. I don't know. I hear a TV there. Okay. But I just want to let you know, this is what I learned from this book. There were many things. I listened to it 1.5 times, the first part of it. And what I picked up is that, number one, prayer. There was an experiment where they prayed for people for people who were ill 4 or 5 years after they prayed but they were not as ill because they were prayed for. I believe that's what he said. I could be wrong, but normally when we think of prayer, what we do is we say thank you for our family, thank you for our friends, thank you for our job. And he's saying that that is the way that most people were taught to pray, but that's not the way that we should be praying. We should be praying and thanking for what we don't have right now because we want it. So for example, thank you for getting me the mansion. Thank you for getting me the Maserati or Lamborghini, my Lamborghini, Lamborghini Venatus that I'm waiting for. Thank you for getting me that. And see Charles laughing there and writing it down. But that is an issue that we have. Gratitude is about thanking for the things that we want, not for the things that are common every day. That's what we have to build out of it, out of that situation. And how did he explain it? It's cause and effect. If we're thanking for our family, for our friends, then the effect is not that great. But if we're causing the action, then the effect is much greater. So causing the effect, meaning thanking for the 300 homes that I'm able to rent out to people, the apartment complex that I have because now I am a successful real estate owner, the millions and millions of dollars, thank you for acquiring it through my investing in crypto and stocks and so on, whatever it is for you. The other part of this is that we tend to use the same word over and over again. Do you remember where this is how I started. What's the same word? I don't know. For each of you is different. It could be, oh, I don't know. Horrible. You do know. You just have to make up your mind to know. Right? That's one. Two is health, just as Martha started speaking. Health. If you want to be healthy, then you've got to start being healthy. Visualizing and eating properly, because we have the access to the crappy foods, but just do it and your health will improve within 30 days. He said most people's health improve just by visualizing. I don't remember what the statistic was. So what are you waiting for? Change that 2 millimeter shift, whether it's in the word, the action, or the visualization part, just as Reg has been pushing on visualization. And if you want to take it a step further, then you write it down. If you don't, then visualizing is fine as long as you're implementing some type of action in that visualization, right? So we're this close from achieving our millionaire status. Make sure you're doing that part and figuring it out, that Rubik's Cube. It's that small. It's easy to solve. Just figure it out. Stop wasting time. Any questions? Yes.
Actually, you already have that status within you, if you can say it.
Well, you have it within you. Everyone has it within you. Just yesterday, I went and signed up my wife's niece into a public school to finish off her high school, so to get her GED. And the woman who saw me there said, "Wow, you have the signature of a millionaire." And I in my head said, "I know that." I didn't say really. I didn't say wow. I said, "I know that." If you understand, it's just a 2 millimeter shift. I could have said really. I could have said wow, but I said, "I know that." I'm affirming what she said to myself. I don't need to affirm it to her, but I need to affirm it to myself. So that's what you've got to do, is just figure it out. It's just that little shift, right, Ty, right, Martha, right, Gina, Charles, Reg. I mean,
you'll have what you say when you have what you say.
Correct. So when you feel that you're ill and you feel you are down, don't be grateful because you're recuperating. Be grateful because you're healing. Got it? I mean, I could be wrong, but instead of thinking about I'm recuperating, think about I'm healing. It's just that little shift that I sometimes forget, and I know that sometimes you forget. But this
And-
has pointed that direction. Yeah, Reg?
And we focus, as the book talked about, and I talked initially about the 5%, the conscious, and the 95% is the record that's playing in your mind. But the other part of it is the fact that which we see is as the material around us is way less than 1% of that, which is actually the real substance, which is the 99.99 whatever percent, which is the unseen. So
Yes.
when you talk about this millionaire and all this stuff, well, first of all, we all go through millions of dollars, at least $1 million plus in our lifetime. So that already makes you a quote unquote millionaire, right? So that's the
Yes.
one thing. But then money is a people construct. So we got to get out of this place and state of thinking about money as like, you know, I'm this millionaire, as if like it's not something we already own, because we do, because it's just man-made anyway. So if you decide you want to be more money, just be more money. If you want to be more love, be more love. But the concept is really, it really comes down to a being state, which is where he talked about not thinking and doing. You don't have to do millionaire. You don't have to do, you know, love. You don't have to do motivation. You have to be it. And if you become something, you just live it, you exude it, you are it, then you are going to function as it. So as once you decide that you're a millionaire, you will be a millionaire. Once you decide you are love, you will be love. Once you decide you're health, you'll be health. Once you decide you are happy, you'll be happy. That's a state of being, which is something you run with, you live with every day, day in and day out. So that's the thing. And we must realize that it's not about this thing that we see on the outside. We have to go back into the quote unquote inside and pull out those things that make the outside show up. Because
Yes.
all the stuff that is on the outside comes from stuff that you can't see, right? Thoughts are unseen, you know, love is unseen, magic is unseen, like all of whatever that stuff that makes up the thing that is visual to us, which we too much focus on, is stuff that we can't see with our eyes. It's in the immaterial. So we have to make the immaterial material. And that's easy if we just go back into the inside state of who we are and bring it from inside out. So that's the thing is, and he focuses, and he mentions that we're focusing on this little bit of something, which is all the stuff we see around us, but that came from stuff that didn't even exist. So we got to go back to the thing that doesn't exist, which is more important than the things that we believe does exist. So
Correct.
that's how we should be focused.
Amen. Well
Breaking
said,
out of the
Reg.
habits, out of our routines, out of our monotonous, I guess, routine in general. Just we have a monotonous way of approaching certain things, and we just have to wake up and snap out of it and rethink it, reorganize. So that's it for tonight. Unless you want to keep going, I've got to attend to my daughter, who my wife is out working, so I've got to get to her because I don't know if the attendant left already, and she's knocking on my door here. But I want to thank you because this powerful review is just one part of this book. The other part, which Ty already read, I hope she doesn't tell, and I think Reggie probably read as well.
Not
It's
yet.
exciting. It's exciting. And I can tell that Ty learned a lot from it, and we want to learn a lot from it. So just cover the other 5 hours as best as you can. If you did, great. If you didn't, I understand. I attempt to listen to it and just do the best you can with these books. We are trying to push you a little bit because you are CEOs. You should be reading 60 to 65 books a year, right? Don't believe anything else. You should be saying, that's right, I am. I will to do it. That's it. This is the Mastermind Book Club signing off to all my CEOs here. And we're going to make something immensely big very soon. Take care. God bless you more and more. And until next week, take care.
Thank you very much. God bless you and good night.